Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds. Welcome back. I'm Gavin Webber and I'm the host of the show. Today, in this episode 347, hopefully we'll be answering your home cheese making questions. Now, everything seems good to go. So, of course, first of all, let me thank all of the patrons and YouTube members. Got some new ones today, or renewing ones. Ruth, thank you, Ruth, for renewing one of the very first YouTube members. Thank you, Ruth. Colin, g'day, Colin. FDC Fam, hello. Madam Patriot, we got Trevor Lewis and Jack Holman. The new YouTube members, fantastic. Thank you, everybody. And we've got Tracy, who's been a member for 26 months. March already, yes it is. Sorry. Let's not forget our patrons. Goodness me, I'm dying here. Our patrons. No new ones this week, but we have a whole raft of people that support the show over on Patreon as well. Thank you so much to one and all who support the show financially. Okay, a big announcement. Ask the Cheeseman, this show, this live stream anyway, is 9 years old today. So I've been doing live streams, in this format anyway, for 9 years. So if you've learnt anything over the period, then yeah, you're doing okay. It's a great little resource. I enjoy getting up at 6 a.m. every Sunday morning to bring the show to you. I know we don't start at 6 a.m, but that's when I get up. Okay. And one final shout out, and hopefully she's watching. Happy birthday to my mum. She is 80 years old today. So congratulations, Mum, to making it to a grand old 80. Hope you have a fantastic day. Love from me and Kim and Ben and the rest of the family. So, right, so what videos have we got today? Well, you would have seen yesterday I released the Better Cows Feta video. So that's been released and that's there. So let's bring up the Trello board. Where have you got it, Gav? Let's have a look. Can we see what's going on? Oh, let's move that out the way. There we go. So the Better Cows Feta has been published. That's being promoted at the moment. The Orange and Walnut Kafili is just has to have the voiceover done and final touches on the music. So that'll be good fun. The Formaggio, made 4 cheeses using the Formaggio. Here's what I learned. I've recorded the initial unboxing, but I haven't done any cheeses with it at the moment. And yeah, I've got some, there's some good things and some bad things about the machine, and definitely that'll be in the video as well. So, yeah, so stand tuned. That's going to take a while, because to make 4 cheeses, it's going to take me like 4 weekends and then editing and all that sort of stuff. Just putting the finishing touches on how I enhance my veggie patch for retirement. And you might have seen a nice quick little short yesterday. And that was... Kim said, just film it. I went, okay. So it was my Golden Nugget pumpkins. And I thought, no, I'll just throw it on the channel, see what happens, see if people enjoy the YouTube short. It was quick and dirty, but yeah, that was good fun. The Mount Cottrell, aka Valence, is going to take longer than it should. I have them ripening in my little fridge in here in the studio. Unfortunately, they were way too moist during the whole process, so I'm going to have to remake them again. And And what I'm going to do is take the original part of the video and then the new part of the video, and I'm going to intertwine them and say, like, this is where the mistake happened here. This is what it should really look like, and we're going to do it like that. So the Valencia video is going to take a little bit longer than I had predicted. So I'm going to have to move forward the blue to buffalo, which should be a lot simpler. I can get my hands on some water buffalo milk, and we'll go from there. Now, there's a super chat going down somewhere there. Let me just have a quick look. Get rid of this. Okay, who's that? Goodness me. Dominic. Thank you, Dominic. Happy birthday. Thank you so much for the $5 US, or $4.99. That'll do. Absolutely fantastic. Thank you, mate. Appreciate it. Happy birthday for not only my mum, but happy birthday for Ask the Cheeseman, of course. Alrighty. Now, let's say good day to a few people, of course. Who we got? We got heaps and heaps of people. If you got any questions, don't forget, just like Kelvin, just put 3 Qs in front and whack your question in the chat now. So we'll get to them after we say g'day. G'day to Shauna. Hello, Shauna. Love to see you as always. Dominic and Merv, Matt and Carolyn. Carolyn, I missed you in all that stuff there. Welcome to the show. Who else we got? Sprout 21. We got KJ Tempo. Hello, KJ. Valerie in Oklahoma. Yep, I remember where you lived. Michelle. G'day, Michelle. Lovely to see you, mate. Jeff. G'day, Jeff. And another Jeff and Heidi. Different Jeff. Who else we got there? The Cheese Grater. First stream. Nice. Jose over in the UK. G'day, Jose. Lovely to see you, mate. Tracy from cheeseneeds.com. Thank you, Tracy. Jason Flip Littler. G'day, Jason. Lovely to see you, mate. Anthony is listening in his car, I think. Where's that? Oops. Did that work? Yeah, there we go. Listening from his car. It's a new one. Nice. I don't know how you're doing that, but yeah. Anyway, that's cool. YouTube on the CarPlay or Android Auto or whatever it's called. But yeah, very cool. We've got... Oh, Jason's in Kangaroo Island. I've been there as a young lad, a long time ago. Went for a school excursion to Kangaroo Island and saw all the sights. It's a lovely little place. Nicola and Zombicus, g'day to both of you. And that's about it of all the people who are there, who have joined the chat. There's lots more people who have joined the show. Let's have a quick look. Where the heck is that? I want to see my dashboard. 30 people watching. That's nice. Fantastic. Thank you so much. All right. What am I doing? I've done that. Right, time for questions. So, the first question is from Kelvin. Says, I have 2 cheese presses. If I make a double batch of cheese and put them in the presses, after the first pressing, can I add them together on top of each other for a thicker cheese? Yes, you can. I've done that before with the very first batch of feta I made. If you have a look at the original feta video back in 2010, yeah, you can see that I did that. I've done it before with... Let me think. Not so much with a press, but Fundy Fog, which I think you've made, Kelvin. And yeah, you make 2 small cheeses and put them together or cut them in half. Morbier is a good candidate for that as well. You can put an ash line in the middle. If you make 2 small Morbiers and put them together and put the ash line, and you get a nice clean ash line through the middle instead of a wonky one. So yeah, that'll work. They usually stick together after the first press. Bang them together, they'll stick together, no problems at all. Okay. Dominic has a question, and he says, I make my own kefir and yogurt. I've been experimenting with using them to culture cheese. From the resulting cheeses, how can I tell if the culture is the right one and in the right amount? Well, good question. That's a problem. Using kefir has multiple mesophilic, thermophilic, and even some geotrichum candidum are the main components of kefir when you culture them and use them for cheese. So you're not going to get consistent results, or certainly cheeses true to type. If you use them for things like cream cheese or quark, like I think you have, then that's fine. But if you start using kefir for harder cheeses and semi-harder cheeses, you're going to get mixed results. So it's very difficult to tell. Anyway, I hope that helps. It's not too much bloody help, but it's help nonetheless, I suppose. Okay, Sprout has, I made a clabbered culture Gruyere and didn't add any bee linens. It's on about a day 20 and it's got quite a bit of white mould yeast. With routine washing, will bee linens appear naturally? Not necessarily. The Brevibacteria linens has to be in your environment or part of the terroir. But if it's not, then you're not going to get any bee linens growing on your cheese. It's not like sourdough bread where you can gather wild yeasts and make them into a collective into your starter. Not the same thing. You can't do that. It's best to introduce some if you want to. Normally, I don't think Gruyere actually has any bee linen, so washing the Gruyere usually just makes the rind thicker, which is what you want, especially if you're doing a natural rind on the cheese. As for the clabber, Gruyere normally needs a thermophilic starter culture, so usually clabber, which is basically raw milk that has been naturally started with the lactic bacteria that's in the milk, may not have thermophilic culture in it, so you may have some troubles. Jason says, any advice for transporting cheese interstate? Yeah, definitely. So my dad has one of those camping fridges. So you plug it into the 12-volt socket in your car, or the back of your car. Most of them have one on the boot now. And you put your cheese in that. That's the best way to transport it. What I would do if it's a semi-hard cheese, make sure that once you've tested it and tasted it and all that stuff, to vacuum pack it into smaller pieces and then transport it that way. Anyway, yeah, that's my advice on that. That's the best way to do it. Make sure it stays refrigerated, especially from Kangaroo Island all the way to Toowoomba, which is nearly a 3-day drive, really. If you're stopping, if you're only doing like 8 hours of travel per day. Zombicus says, the Munster cheese I made took a bad turn in the cave and became super soft and sour smelling. I threw them out. Aging temperature was 55 degrees Fahrenheit, I would assume. Any ideas what I did wrong? Very hard to tell when I'm not there, Lisa, so become super soft. Munster is typically a washed rind cheese which usually stays fairly firm, and then the inside does soften slightly, as it normally does. But not without being there, there's so many things that could go wrong, but many things that can go right, of course. Shoot me some photos, description on how you made it, and all that sort of stuff in an email, Lisa, and we'll see what we can do next week. Unfortunately, can't do too much with that limited amount of information without having a thread in the chat that's about a mile long. Sprout says, how accurate are hygrometers and how do you control humidity? I just bought a mini fridge and I've been keeping humidity high using a humidifier. Will this work? Yeah, it will. However, I tend to take the the lazy cheesemakers. What am I looking for? What's the word? The lazy cheesemakers. Not journey. Anyway, it doesn't matter. What I do, I use ripening boxes. So in the ripening box, underneath the mat, I put a piece of cloth that I boiled. Usually it's a piece of cheesecloth, or it can be a chucks or a J cloth or whatever you call them over wherever you are. And you know the woven dishcloths. Anyway, so I boiled that, and just put that damp. You wring it out so it's got a bit of moisture in it. Put it underneath the mat in the ripening box, and that keeps the ripening box to about 80 to 85% relative humidity. And I've tested that using a hygrometer, and it was an electronic one. Seemed to be okay. How accurate are they? Fairly accurate. So I don't have any issues with the accuracy of the hygrometer because the electronic ones are pretty good. So yeah, instead of making the whole fridge humid, which is prone to making the walls of the cheese fridge covered in mold eventually, it'll be wild molds from every time you open the fridge. Use ripening boxes to protect individual cheeses. That way in your cheese fridge you can make blues, you can make whites, you can do natural rinds all at the same time, and they are isolated from each other and they won't cross-contaminate. So that's the best way to do it, Sprout. Merv has a question, says, on the verge of making my first hard cheese, what in the group recommendation... Yesterday's cheese is a good beginners to start with. Yesterday's is a good cheese to start with, and friend of the channel, Tracy, cheeseknees.com, is the creator of that recipe. That's a good one. There's another good one as well, Merv, is Guido's hard Italian cheese, and you'll see, I think I've got a video called... it's called Easy Italian Cheese Guido's. It is in the title. I'll get the link for you. Hang on. We can do that. We got everything here, country and western. Over to the second monitor. Let's look for Guido's cheese. There it is. Guido's hard Italian cheese. Let's get the link for that. Into the chat. There we go. So check that cheese out. It's ready in 3 weeks as well. It's very mild. It can you can age it out to 3 months tops. Doesn't have the acid to age much longer than that. But yeah, Guido's hard Italian cheese. That uses a thermophilic, whereas I think the Yesterday's uses a thermophilic as well. But yeah, both good cheeses. I think Tracy is actually rewriting her Yesterday's cheese recipe. Just chime in there, Tracy. I think you're doing a rewrite on that, just to make sure that it can be aged longer than the couple of days. I think some people are trying to age it out and getting mixed results. But yeah, let me know. Anthony says the triple brie turned out good despite the P. candidum issues, by the way. Right, so that was the photo that we saw last week that Anthony had shared with us all. And yeah, it looked pretty good. Just didn't have an even white coating. It kind of, I don't know what was going on. They looked like Geo, actually. But yeah, if it turned out good, mate, then well done. Not a loss at all. Persnickety. G'day, mate. How are you? Lovely to see you. Sprout says, what is liquid rennet's typical shelf life in the fridge? Mine is about a year old, and I notice my curd still sets, but never as firm as the videos. Does its age affect strength with raw milk? And it is microbial rennet. Okay, so I used... the rennet that I use is called Chimax Plus. It's a fermented chimicin, which is slightly different than microbial rennet, which is fermented using a fungus or fungi. It has a name, and I can't pronounce it, but Mucor something. Anyway, you'll see it on the bottle. It'll say it. If your curds, so the question is, how long does it last? The fermented Cheeseman rennet that I use, the one specifically, I do sell quite a few, but I do use one specifically for most videos. Hang on, let me just bring it up. Just going to the second monitor in a second when I can find the rennets. Where's your rennet, Gav? There we go. Right, so I do have a few rennets here. So we've got rennet tablets. They're fermented. They're microbial rennet as well. They go with all the kits that we sell here, the ones from Green Living Australia anyway. There's another microbial rennet, which is the Mad Millie one, which I don't have on hand at the moment. But this one here from Green Living Australia, the liquid rennet, this is Chimax Plus. It is a fermented produced Cheeseman. Let's have a look at the specification sheet. It's got an IMCU of 200. There it is. Chimax Plus from CHR Hansen. Can I make that bigger? There we go. So it's used. So it's produced from submerged fermentation on vegetable substrate with Aspergillus niger variant. Oh God, Awamori. Goodness me, and it's kept under contained conditions, and that is not present in the final product. Anyway, so it is Cheeseman, and there's all the stats on it if you want. That seems to last a lot longer than, say, animal rennet or the microbial stuff in the powdered form or the tablet form lasts very long as well. But the liquid microbial and animal rennet don't seem to last as long as the FPC or fermentation produced Cheeseman. Look, I've got I did a test, did a video test on the quality of milks and rennets and stuff like that. During that shoot, I actually used rennet, the same one I'm talking about, the Cheeseman one, the fermented produced Cheeseman. It was 2 years old and it worked perfectly. There was no problems. Because what I do, because I run a cheese shop as well, I use stock that has just gone past its best before date. So that's what I tend to do. Never had any issues with it whatsoever, and they do last a little bit longer than what the best before date says. Remember, it's not an expiry date, it's a best before date. So I don't have any problems with that. If you find that your curd is not as firm, maybe add a little bit more. Remembering that raw milk is variable in its fat and protein structure during the life cycle of milking, during the lactation cycle, so that could be an effect as well. So just add a little bit more if you noticed over the last few makes that it's not setting as well as it should be, and it depends on the strength of the rennet as well. Like I said, I'm using IMCU, which stands for International Milk Coagulation Units, and the strength of that that Chimax Plus is 200. So that's what I use. Anyway, thank you very much for your question. Okay. We got a super chat. Happy 9th birthday to the live show, and of course to your mum too. Thank you so much, Michelle. Appreciate it. $10 US. You're very kind. Thank you so much. Okay. Let's get rid of that. Okay. Jason says, I think that's, that's another super chat. That was for, goodness me. Hang on. We'll get back to your question in a minute, Jason. Zombica Lisa says, any advice on taking pictures of cheese? My lighting always messes with the natural colour, natural cheese colour. Goodness me. Is that another super chat? Hang on, I'll turn that one off. The natural colour in my photos. I don't want to send lousy photos. Okay. So what I do is use a white light, not a warm light. So what I'm currently using, these ones here can change colours to different degrees of Kelvin to give them different colours. I use, and this may be a little bit out of budget, but these panel lights here, hang on, I'll turn one on, it's going to be bright as anything. There we go. So I use these panel lights with a diffuser. They got batteries, but this is filmmaking equipment, and this makes the colours true to colour. So if you're going to use, instead of using, say, lights from above, just get a lamp, right? Make sure the bulb for it is cool white, right? Because you can buy warm white and cool white. So get cool white, and then your colours will be true to type. So make sure you've got light coming on from the front, just where your camera is. So there's the light, there's your camera, and you'll get a much better picture. And like I said, cool white is the colour bulb, and yeah, you won't have too many problems at all. Zombicus. In most photo editing software, you can do a white balance on it, or press auto, and it'll correct the colours and stuff. So that may help as well. That's what I do. Okay. Anthony's outside the car. That's nice. Zombicus says, well, that's bright. Yeah, it was a bit. Sorry, I hope I didn't wreck my camera. Next question is from Dominic. Says, I live in an apartment. Are there cheeses I should avoid making to keep from annoying my neighbours? I don't know, how loud are you when you make it, or is it the smell you're more worried about? The odour of the cheese? Look, really, the odour of the cheese when you're maturing it is contained to the vessel you're maturing it in. Funny you should say that. There was a funny thing that happened the other day. I opened up the lid of the Valence in the kitchen because I was checking them out, and I noticed they're starting to get a little bit of skin slip because they were too moist. And it was like somebody opened up a lunchbox full of boiled eggs. So it didn't smell like that. It was more ammonia. But I said, Kim, remember when we walked into that ripening room at Long Paddock Cheese, and you got hit with that ammonia? She said, exactly like that. She says, but I don't want it through my whole house, is what she said to me. And look, yes, I should have warned everybody and shut more doors and opened out the kitchen door, so I let some fresh air in. But yeah, that can happen. I don't know what you can do personally. Open up your ripening boxes in a place that has a bit of ventilation through it. That helps. But yeah, the B. Lennon's cheeses are the worst. They reek. They reek. They smell, but they taste amazing. But the smell is deceiving. Anyway, what can you do? Open a couple of windows. I think that's the best way to do it. So any cheeses, B. Lennon's, ripened cheeses, and sometimes even some. Is there Poirot right? No, it's not. Oh, goodness me. You'll clear the whole building if you make that. Anyway, moving right along. Lots of laughs. Anthony says, you can also get a light box that is basically a box with the lights already in it. Yes, you can. You can buy... these are fold-up. They cost about $20 here in Australia. They're a box. They're for filming products, right? They've got a curved back. It's a white box that just folds out, and you clip it together. You put your cheese in there, take a photo. But like I said, you still got to have that light at the front where your camera is. Not above, because you get shadows and all that, but at the front. So yeah, we do use those for products as well, Anthony, when we shoot products for our website. Okay, that is time for the gallery. Let me just bring up the gallery photos. Whoop, 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 whoop. Rightio, and yep, that's a bit bright. Here we go. Right, so the gallery is brought to you by the Curd Nerds. This one is sent in by Chris Smith. I don't know if he's in the chat or not, but Chris says, "Hi Gavin, I love your YouTube videos and I've made several cheeses with your recipes. This recipe was made by New England Cheese Making for intermediates. It's a Tom washed rind cheese about a week and a half into the rind washing, autocorrect, and the spotty black mold. Is it a throwaway cheese? Regards, Chris." No, I replied back to Chris via email, says you could use a soft brush and some brine to clean that off. If it's too tough, then yeah, you could scrape it off. It'll only be surface, it won't be in, because the rind looks fairly intact. You can't really tell too much because you've got it in the ripening box there. But then allow it to become touch dry at room temperature, and then vacuum pack it, put it back into the cheese fridge. Some notes here. These look like fingerprints. Notice how they're about fingerprint size. So I'm thinking there's a couple of things. Make sure your sanitization is spot on. Absolutely. Make sure you sanitize the box, the mat, with a sanitizer, no rinse sanitizer like Star San or Idafor. And there's some contamination somewhere. The black mold spores can be transferred by fingers when you're washing the cheese. Can even come from the brine if the brine hasn't been boiled. So these are some of the issues that you can come across with. What I do now, I wash my hands when I'm handling, before I handle cheese, and this is what I learnt from visiting Long Paddock Cheese, is wash your hands with hot soapy water, and then use hand sanitizer. We all went through the pandemic. We all seen hand sanitizer. Just hand sanitizer and rub it till it evaporates off your hands, and you're good to go. And then you can touch anything and not worry too much about any contamination that may be in your cheese. Now, Chris has come back to me since, and he said, I think this is it. Yeah, this is Chris's cheese. Here it is. He said that, thanks for your advice, ended up scraping the mold off with a sharp knife like you would a blue cheese until it was gone. Then I washed with a brine solution. I patted it dry, and now I'm going to let it air dry for a day and then vacuum seal it. So yeah, this is cheese fully recovered. Nice. And yeah, hopefully you won't get any more black mold on the cheese. So congratulations, Chris, on a nice cheesy recovery there. Fantastic. Okay, the next one is from Jeff. And Jeff says, "Hi Gavin, a few photos for Sunday's stream. Photo number 1 is my Bel Paese, which is now 6 days in the fridge so far. Looking good so far, Jeff. And I like your little hygrometer and thermometer there. That's excellent. You may want to, well, no, it says 99%. I don't know if that's in the box or what, because yeah, you'll get a lot of moisture from the cheese as it's ripening. But if you find it starts to drop, then you do that boiled cloth underneath the mat. That helps keep the humidity up as well. Next cheese is yesterday's cheese that Jeff Asmo says this is another yesterday's cheese which I've made with my new mold that I purchased from Amazon. Is there a picture of the mold? Oh, there it is, this blue one here. I don't know if it's got a follower, it must do. It's just been taken out of the brine, and so far so good. Excellent. And I like your brine bucket. Looks very similar to mine, but blue. made by the same company. There we go. Well done. Next is photo 3 and 4 is the milk we get from Woolies, which is Paul's 2% milk. Okay. Full cream taste with only 2% fat. Do you have a picture of the back? Oh, you do. Well done. Reduced fat milk. Milk solids contains milk. I think they've added some powder into it, maybe, if they put milk solids in it. What's the fat content? 2%. Carbs to protein, 3.8 grams. Yeah, look, that's okay. I think that'll be all right. It is pasteurised, homogenised. Hopefully they haven't ultra-pasteurised it. You can't tell unless you go and ask them. Should I try to make cheese and desist with this milk, only being 2% fat? Yeah, you could do. If it sets a curd, and you're going to have to test that. If it sets a curd, then fantastic. Then, yeah, you make sure you use calcium chloride to fortify the milk. Mainly for the pasteurisation, but it helps because the homogenisation process for this will also limit the curd setting ability. So hopefully that helps, Jeff, and you get a decent cheese out of it. Okay, the next one is from Kelvin, late entry. Got 7:30 this morning, 15 minutes before the show starts. He sends these through, and these are magnificent. So this one says, "Hi Gav, I thought I'd send these photos to the gallery. I'm wrapped with these cheeses," which in Australian means I'm stoked or I'm very pleased. As I've only been making cheese for a couple of months, the St. Marcelin was too small for the bowl, so I kept it like a camembert. And I love the Geo mould crinkliness there. Looks like a little brain. What's it look like inside? There it is. A little bit of ooziness in the middle. The temperature can probably be a little bit lower, Kelvin. With these styles of cheeses, especially the white mould cheeses, typically prefer between 7 and 10 degrees Celsius for maturation. It kind of slows it right down, but doesn't stop it like, say, 4 degrees does. You'll get less of this stuff on the outside. I don't know if can you see my arrow? You'll get less of this on the outside, and it'll be more consistent all the way through. But the paste looks perfect. So great looking cheese. Well done, mate. The next one is also from Kelvin, and this is Kelvin's Fundy Fog. Look at that. That is magnificent. So he's got a ash-coated white mould cheese here. It started oozing because it split a little bit, so he opened it up. And what's it look like in the middle? Oh, love that line in the middle. So once again, yeah, you're going to have to lower your temperatures for these styles of cheeses. Yeah, all will be good. So it says, Fundy Fog started to ooze in the container. Absolutely delicious. Thanks for all the videos you do, as it really helps. Cheers, Kelvin Templeton. Thank you, Kelvin. Great looking cheeses, and Kelvin is new to the Curd Nerd community, so say g'day to Kelvin in the chat. Merv, who's also new to the community, Merv has sent me some photos of his setup. I don't know if they're in the right order, but we'll go through it anyway. It says, "Hi Gavin, I think I put together a system." Let me just try and put them in order. Right, this one. This is the first one. Right. I put together a system at a good price to solve the problem of the precision cooker not fitting in the sink. It's like it was made to fit the clamp. I got a higher waterproof and robust cooker. You could save more with the ISV 100 or 200. I think Merv has bought the 300 watt one. Now, Merv, this is a great choice, the 300 watt one, and I'll tell you why. Because you're using a stainless steel bain marie, you're going to get a lot of heat loss from the water to the metal. So the 100 watt probably wouldn't have kept up with the heat loss. So because you're using the 300 watt model, it's a more powerful element. So you will find that the water will stay at the temperature you set it at, and it won't go cooler, and the Inkbird won't have to work as hard. So absolutely perfect. So the 28 litre stainless steel Bain Marie, and the 12 litre stock pot with the lid and the sous vide cost $230 Australian, which is pretty good, especially for the stainless steel Bain Marie. That wouldn't have been cheap. The 5 litre food grade pail from Bunnings is the brining tub. Where we go? There we go. So here we go. We've got a food grade pail, 5 litres for brining his cheeses. So perfect. And it's got a lid. You can pop that on, pop your cheese in, pop it into the cheese fridge when you're brining your cheese. So absolutely perfect. Now, are there any? So there's the clamp. So that clamps on perfectly with the Inkbird's native clamp. What else we got? There's the top-down view. So his 12 litre pot fits in perfectly for the 10 litre recipes that I mainly produce, and anything smaller. Where else? Is there any other photos? No, that's about it, I think. So thank you, Merv, for sending your setup. If anybody wants a setup like this, Merv actually did send me the links of where he purchased the stuff in Australia. What I'll try and do is see if I can find them on Amazon, because that's multinational, and I'll try and see if I can find equivalents for those and put them into my Amazon store. So I'll announce that via our community chat if anybody's interested. But if anybody's interested here in Australia where Merv got this set up, then yeah, shoot me an email and I'll send it to them. So that's Merv's setup. Next photo is from Michelle, and Michelle says, "Hi Gavin, I thought I'd share 2 pictures of the jalapeno farmhouse cheddar I made. I learned to age them at least 3 months to make them extra creamy and delicious. I made this one last November. Thank you for your wonderful recipes and videos. Sincerely, Michelle." That looks spectacular. What a great looking cheese. Crumbly. I love a good crumbly cheese as well. And I'll have a bit of bite with those jalapenos in there. Just word of advice for anybody who wants to make this recipe: make sure that you sanitize the jalapenos first. And you'll have no issues whatsoever. Vacuum pack it, because if you don't, then you will get molds that you won't be able to clean off the rind of the cheese. Is there another picture? There it is. So because the rind is compromised with the chili peppers, it's best to vacuum pack the cheese, and there's a couple of ways you can do it. You can keep it in the cheese fridge and mature it there. If you're worried about these bits of chilies rotting, then you can put it into the normal kitchen fridge and mature it, but do it for at least another month longer than you normally would if you use the cheese cave. So well done, Michelle, congratulations. Fantastic looking jalapeno cheddar. I think that's it. Yeah, that's it for the gallery today. Thank you so much, everybody, for sending in your photos. It's been wonderful to showcase them, of course. Now, how do you send in your? How do you send? No, that's not it, Gav. What are you looking? I'm looking for the right one. Here we go. How do you send in your photos? Well, what you do is you go to the channel page, like thus, and this bit here where it says, do you want to become a Curd Nerd? Just click here. You'll get this little about pop up, and down here, view email address. Click on that button there, and you will get the email address, my business email address. So send any photos that you have for the gallery to that email address there. So that's how you do it. Thank you so much. Really appreciate everybody who sent in their photos this week. Okay. Now, we do have another super chat about to go off, so let's see if I can catch it. It's from Patricia. Lovely to see you, Patricia. Is the thing... Here we go. I'm washing a raclette weekly. It's in its ripening box. This rind stays super sticky wet all the time and seems kind of gross. Is that normal? Thanks, Gav. Is it normal? Sticky? Yes. Yes, it can be tacky. Because as it dries out again, it starts to go tacky, and then, well, you get 2 curd nerd lights for the price of 1, Patricia. So, yeah, it will go tacky. Does it seem gross? Yes, as long as it's not... what's the word I'm looking for? Slimy? Slimy's the word. Yeah, I would... as long as the rind stays intact when you're washing the cheese, Patricia, then you shouldn't have too many problems at all. But yeah, it does, and it stinks. The Brevibacterial linens in raclette is stinky. You'll even notice if you buy a piece of raclette, which I've done, and they import them from France. I don't know how they get it here so quick. Probably by plane, I suppose. But it is tacky. You take it out of the cheese paper, and the cheese is tacky, right? And you touch it, and you'll get the Brevibacterial linen smear on your fingers, and it stinks. But the cheese is just absolutely delightful. It's one of the weirdest things ever, right? One of the things I've discovered in cheese making, that the B. Linens cheeses, the washed rind cheeses, although they stink to high heaven, the flavour of them is exceptional. It shouldn't be that way. Your nose is there to tell you. I don't know who got past the stink when they first made this cheese, but I tell you what, they were a game person, and and the cheese is history. It's a beautiful cheese, especially for making raclette potatoes. I love it. It's such a beautiful melting cheese. The flavour is just exceptional. So stick with it. Yeah, it'll be tacky, gross, smelly, all that sort of stuff, Patricia. You're doing the right thing. Yeah, maybe I should have advertised that in the thing, in the not the thing, in the video. Anyway, it is what it is, right? Alrighty, we got some more questions. Lisa says, my daughter smells B. Linens cheese a mile away. Yeah, well, my wife can too. I actually couldn't smell the smell until I went, breathed it right in. Maybe I'm just used to smelly cheeses now. I don't know. Matt in the UK. Nice to see you, mate. Congratulations. I think you visited a whole bunch of cheese places. So I saw the photos on Facebook. Very cool, mate. Should have sent them in for the gallery. That would have been cool. G'day to all was right. Did I get that? There it is, yeah. G'day to you. Greetings from the US. It is... I'll look at the right screen. Hang on. Greetings from the US. It's been a hot minute since I've been able to catch an episode. It's great to see you back, mate. Okay, Jeffrey says, Gavin, what's the best way to test that 2% milk, like how much rennet, how much calcium chloride, in a small amount of milk before I make a large batch? Yeah, so, where's my video? The video that I want to refer you to, mate, is milk. Is there... I do have a video on it. What the heck did I call it? Maybe it was testing. I'm just searching. Sorry, I'm taking some time. Testing. It's always good for a testing. Goodness me, I didn't make it that long ago. Where the heck is it? Oh, not Vegemite cheese gaff. God, where the hell is it? Won't be long. Just talk amongst yourselves. I'll find this video. It's got a whole bunch of surely it wasn't that long ago. Gavler, you got to put it here somewhere. Curds not setting. Trouble with the main... Right, I found it. Thanks, buddy. Can I share it? Here we go. I'll pop it into the chat. Just for you, Jeff. Go and check that out. That's how I tested some milks on whether they worked or not. Yeah, you'll be... it's quite easy to do. Go and check that video out, and that'll give you the answer. Okay, next question is from... and it's a suggestion. Merv, are you using a trivet for your setup? Yeah, it is a good question. Is Merv using a trivet for the setup? Because the circulation under the pot is just as important as around the sides. And I do have trivets. Let me just show you what I mean by a trivet and what Sean is referring to. I do have a stainless steel one now in the shop. Here we go, second monitor. There we go. So, stainless steel trivet, we sold them for $20. So, this is exactly the same one I use. And you put your pot on it. It fits, it works perfectly for my 16 litre or 4 gallon pot. It'll work fine for your 12 litre one, Merv. Jason says he's got the trivet from me, and it works great. I've been using mine for years, and it's so easy to clean. But anyway, so there's the trivet. If you want one, you can get it. Hang on, I'll get the link. Where's the link? Just for you, because I'm a nice man. Copy. There we go, into the chat. There we go, one trivet. Alrighty, that is the trivet. We got some action going on here. What the heck is going on? We got curd nerds going off like frogs in socks. There we go. Oh, there we go, the curd nerd light. Merv, thank you, Merv. It's your first super chat. There we go. I'll give you a love heart just for you, mate. Thanks, Merv. Appreciate the $10 super chat. But yeah, use a trivet. You'll get better circulation of the warm water around your pot. So, and we got Jeffrey sending a super sticker as well. A cute little thing going on there. I don't know. It was a super chat. No, it's a super chat with a little sticker thing. Thank you, Jeff. Appreciate it, mate. There we go. The light just keeps going. So good. Merv says, yes, I use a trivet. Got one from Gav. You did too. Sorry, I didn't have my order list here. I can't. It's privacy reasons. Can't share that sort of stuff. But yeah, cool. Yeah, no, they do. It works very well. Adrian says, hey, why don't you do any more mold videos? They are my favourite ones to watch, like your older ones showing the whole process. I do have a mold video coming up, Adrian. It's not that I haven't done one for a while. It's just that I've done them all. Well, quite a few of them anyway. So it's not like, I've kind of stopped doing them for a reason. It's just that I hadn't come across one for a while. And the Valence video that I'm doing now is a mold ripened cheese, so that'll be good fun. And I got a blue de Buffalo that's going to be starting production in a couple of weeks' time as well. Zombicus Lisa says, is there a way to test the viability of cultures? I think I need to check my expiration dates. I have some issues with my last two cheeses. Castle Blue never got blue, and the bee linens never grew on my Munster. Okay, so one suggestion. When you open the packet, and this is what I do, and I send these out with every culture order that I send, and you may have got some, Lisa, when I sent them through to you. So these little jars, these are little, can I put one in front of my face? So it's a little sterile jar, okay, airtight, as long as you screw the lid on tight. So any of those open packets that don't have the Ziploc seal again, then pour them into one of these, put the lid on very tight, put them in the freezer, and they'll stay viable. And you won't have too many trouble. Starter cultures do tend to They last a little bit past their best before date, up to a year or so. I've certainly found that way and had no problems. The only way to really test, Lisa, is by using a pH meter. So getting a cup of milk and having it warm to about 30 degrees Celsius, and then add your starter culture. Just add a little tiny bit, 1/64th of a teaspoon. And I think I sent you some of those teaspoons too. So 1/64th of a teaspoon, put that into 1 cup of water, or 250 mils, not water, sorry, warm milk. And then before though, check the pH before, and then check the pH after 30 minutes. And if there's a drop in pH, then you know that they're viable and they're multiplying and breeding and doing what they do. So that's cultures. For molds, different story, because it says here 2 molds didn't work. Molds themselves, they like specific moisture levels in your cheese. Blue cheese likes it drier. And sometimes if your cheese is too moist, it won't grow blue cheese at all, even though you've introduced it into the milk. So that can be an issue. So the drier the cheese, the better it is for blue. With B. linens, the moister the cheese, the better off it is. It likes a nice moist environment. Not too salty, but moist, right? Like damp to touch. And your B linens will grow perfectly. So it could be an environment issue as well, Lisa. So just have a check on those. Next question. Oh, we got a super chat from Paul. Thank you. I don't know if the light went off. Hi, Gav. Can you explain again when pH should be measured and what the acceptable ranges are? I would love to, Paul. I'm still waiting for my pH meter from Hannah Instruments. I'm doing a brand deal with them. They're going to send me a free one. So that should be, it's called a Hero 2 range for cheese testing. They're going to give me some training and all that sort of stuff. So the pH ranges are different for different cheeses, right? So if you make, say, a lactic set cheese, the pH range when you should mold it is fairly low. So we're talking about 4.5, pH 4.5. For, say, pasta filata cheeses, the pH should be between 5.3 and 5, so totally different. When you're making cheddars, when you test the pH are different steps. I don't know if you've got it. You may have already. You may have this book. So the Mastering Artisan Cheese Making by Giannis Caldwell is a fantastic resource if you're getting deep into home cheese making. And you have that book. Fantastic. Okay, I just saw that on the chat. And it's got the pH ranges for just about every recipe. It doesn't come with... So it has recipes for a basic cheese, and you can change what you do with that recipe. But these are great. I base my Valence on the lactic set cheese, and I had a whole bunch of tips for using pyramid molds and all that sort of stuff. And I had the pH ranges where you needed to test. So that book is the best thing you can do if you want to go to the next step and start using pH meter and test, and start recording that. It's a great book to use. There you go. Hope that answers your question, mate. And thank you so much for the $25 super chat. I really appreciate it. Okay. A cool cat has dropped by with 2 minutes to go. Welcome over in the UK, mate. Appreciate it. I don't know why that came up, but yeah, there we go. Righto, so we got 1 minute to go. It's time for my breakfast, so and the doggos are getting restless, so we're going to call the show to an end. Thank you so much, everybody. Got to pay the bill, so let's plug some stuff. If you want to learn how to make cheese in a structured manner, you can do that over at courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Go and check that out. I've got the Curd Nerd Academy going. I've got 2 courses. A beginner's course with 9 cheeses to make, and we've got a blue cheese course. I think it's about 6 or 7 cheeses to make. but a lot of detailed information there around making blue cheeses and beginners cheeses, of course. If you want to pick up your supplies, do that over at littlegreenworkshops.com.au, and we send cheese making supplies, kits and equipment all over the world. And of course, don't forget, Certified Curd Nerd shirt over at merch.cheeseman.tv, or you can get the mug that I'm drinking out of today, Keep Calm and Make Cheese, the name of my 2 ebooks that you can pick up, and I'll have some others I'll have those 2 books in print hopefully by the end of the week. I have to clean my printer. It's putting smudges on the pages, so I can't print out the books on my nice printer, so I'm gonna have to give that a thorough cleaning before I print out any of the spiral bound versions of the book. Anyway, fantastic to have you all on today. I really appreciate it. Don't forget to, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up and all that sort of stuff. But until next week, same bat time, same bat channel. Thanks so much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.